we know that even the judge said at the time of the hearing, and this is a quote from the trial record, the judge said, "All I can say is you are the court's worst nightmare." I'm not sure I believe her about whether it happened or not, but I don't know at which time I'm supposed to believe her. I find that in no way can one convict absent her testimony. That is testimony that she has recanted. Here's your sworn statement, recanted statement on October 20th, 2005. Question, what brought this statement forward? Alyssa, my mom and I had gotten into an argument one day. I remember so many details during court, during the trial, and now those details I can't even remember, not even a quarter of them. And the ones that I do remember, they don't make sense. Like me saying that he raped me numerous times at my grandfather's house. I slept in bed with my grandma most nights and on the other side of the house from him. There was no way for him to get to me. There were 10 people living in the house. She's breaking this down and saying, this couldn't even have happened commonsensically. She's explaining even the geography of the house, the people around. She's saying this couldn't have happened. She said that nobody pressured her to come forward with this. She said straight up, John never raped, oral, anal, touched inappropriately. She says the prosecution pressured her testimony. She didn't want to testify. She said she can't remember it happening, so how can I say that it happened? How do you keep a man in jail for this long when there's no physical evidence of the crime happening? The person it supposedly happened to says it didn't happen and puts herself in jeopardy to make it clear that it didn't happen. In the United States of America, if you deprive someone of their freedom, that comes at a very high standard. As well it should. If you're going to take somebody off the street and put them in a cage for the rest of their lives, the standard is that it has to be beyond a reasonable doubt. Now, to me, that means that 12 people go in a room and they look at the facts and there is not anything there about which 12 people could reasonably disagree. It's just very clear that there's nothing here to disagree about. It's obvious. And that just simply is not the case here. You've got somebody that is coming back and saying, look, I know what I said, but I was not telling the truth. You have very, let's just say, unclear medical testimony, and you've got a supposed victim who says no crime was committed. Then you have a prosecutor who says, I don't want the court to bring in an expert to opine on this. I don't want an expert to give their empirically backed opinion about what took place or didn't take place. I do not want that to become part of the record. Leave this man in jail. I've got a problem with that. I'm sorry. I've got a problem with that.
Yeah, I wanted to quote from the Fifth Circuit of the United States also. The quote from the Fifth Circuit of the United States about the victim here is, it is beyond regrettable that this is a Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals judge, federal judge. It is beyond regrettable that a possibly innocent man will not receive a new trial in the face of preposterously unreliable testimony of the victim and sole eyewitness to the crime for which he was convicted. That is a federal judge saying that about
from the most conservative court in the country, by the way, right?
Yes.
That's the most conservative circuit court in the country. I think Phil would agree. And I wanted to say too, Dr. Phil, it's so great that you're doing this. And for the audience, I will tell you, there is no joy that I know of that exceeds the joy of helping an innocent people walk out the gates of a prison. And whether you're going to take the $5 you might have spent on a nice coffee drink or, something greater that you can afford, I will maintain that you will feel, if you haven't been a part of something like this before, you should feel a part of this. And I hope you'll follow along with the case and that you'll feel a sense of that same joy when John Kinsel walks out. Because if we can raise this money he will walk out. I mean, Justin is a street fighter, and he has won case after case of innocent guys and women. I think I don't know if you've had any women just don't commit as many crimes, so there aren't as many cases to work on, not even close. But so Justin, I don't know if you've had those. So, but he has helped many innocent people come home, and he does it on a shoestring. He does it out of the goodness of his heart. He's, as I said, he's not getting paid for this. And I implore you, if you've got a few bucks or $100 or $1,000 to spare, you won't find a more gratifying, you won't find a better feeling than watching this good and decent and innocent man. And again, this is not a man who was a career criminal, who had done other things. And if he had been, he didn't deserve this. But this is a guy who was just a regular guy like anybody else, who got caught up in a lie that just grew and fed upon itself, and then was helped along by people who should have known better. And it makes us all sick. And so we're so grateful for anybody who can afford to support this effort. Let's raise this $35,000, and let's get this guy home.
Well, listen, I've just got a few minutes left here and I have to stop, but let me have the final word and finish by saying this. I have dealt with people that have been guilty of this crime. If I thought for a second that this man was guilty of this, I would say that they should put his ass under the jail and throw away the key. I have no compunction whatsoever of locking up somebody that has done the things that he was initially accused of putting him in jail and throwing away the key. No question about it. Jason, you know that I don't get behind these cases until I have done a deep dive. I got to study them. I got to look them in the eye. I got to know what's going on. I can't get behind them if I don't 100% believe in them completely. And you're right. I did go down there. I did sit in that courtroom. I did meet and look at and talk to everybody involved in this. And we're not asking for this man to be turned loose. He just needs a new trial. Personally, I would take the key, unlock him, and drive him home. I think he deserves to be let go. I don't think he should go through a new trial. I think he should be exonerated and sent home. I don't think he needed to spend one day in jail. And I can't tell you how many times over 20 plus years I've worked with stepfathers of rebellious teens or tweens where I've said to them, let me tell you something, buddy, you need to get out of there right now. You're here with this young girl. You shouldn't even go home on the same airplane. You should not live another night in the house with this child because you are in jeopardy. If they make an allegation against you, you could go down hard and wind up in prison. Don't you even go home with these people. You need to get out right now. You are in jeopardy. I wish I had met him and could have said it to him, but sadly I did not. Let's set it straight now. Somebody has overreached in this case. You've got someone that has recanted, and I understand sometimes recantations happen for other reasons. They feel guilty, somebody else leans on them. That's not the case here. She is stuck with this for 20 plus years, and she doesn't even like him. This is a miscarriage of justice. And please, if you can help get an expert in here to support this, and you can give a few bucks to help, do so. I'm contributing my time and money, and these two men here are working tirelessly to do this. So please, you will give yourself a gift if you help this man walk out. I support him. I believe in him. And Jason, thank you for the work you do. We've worked on a lot of cases together. We've sweated down to 11:59 p.m. and hoped that we got relief. And I just believe this is one of those cases that it needs to happen. And Justin Bonus, thank you for what you're doing in this case. We're going to work until we get this man where he belongs, and that's home. Thank you both, and I plead to my viewers to help out here, and we'll have a link on the Dr. Phil podcast. It'll be on drphil.com. It'll be on meritstreetmedia.com. There will be links everywhere you can click and just give a few bucks any way that you can. Thank you, thank you, thank you.